President Trump has issued a travel ban for foreign citizens from 12 countries, and New Zealand's parliament has suspended 3 Māori lawmakers who performed a traditional dance to protest a bill last year. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump has issued a full travel ban for foreign nationals of 12 countries. Trump released a video statement explaining why he's issued the proclamation.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
But the migrant charged in the Boulder attack is Egyptian. Egypt is not one of the countries listed in Trump's travel ban. NPR's Sergio Martinez-Beltran reports the travel ban goes into effect Monday.
The 12 countries covered by the full travel ban include Afghanistan, Haiti, Iran, and Sudan. According to Trump's order, the justification to include many of the countries on that list is that they lack a competent central authority for issuing passports and screening and vetting measures. An additional 7 countries, including Cuba, Venezuela, and Laos, are on a partial ban. Trump says many nationals of those countries pose a risk of overstaying their visas. The ban would only apply to foreign nationals who are outside the U.S. and do not have a valid visa. Lawful permanent residents will be allowed in. Sergio Martinez-Beltran, NPR News, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
President Trump says he will block the entry of foreign students who are going to Harvard University. Trump is also considering whether visas should be revoked for current Harvard students. The university says Trump is retaliating against Harvard. The Trump administration's efforts to restrict visas for international students could help universities in other countries. As Willem Marks reports, British institutions are preparing for potential new applicants.
Education experts say interest in studying at American universities has dropped sharply since January, with internet search volumes for U.S. study options down about 50% over the 4 months to April. More than 10,000 UK students are currently enrolled in US universities. But if that number falls in future, it could mean greater competition for places at elite British institutions that could disadvantage less privileged UK applicants.
Willem Marks reporting. The U.S. Supreme Court has issued a raft of decisions this morning. Several are key. In one case, the court ruled unanimously for an Ohio woman who claimed she was discriminated against at work because she is straight. The high court ruling could affect lawsuits in 20 states and make it easier for people who are straight and white to sue for employment discrimination under federal law. In another decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of a Catholic charity from Wisconsin in a religious freedom case. It also involves unemployment taxes. The justices ruled Wisconsin cannot force the organization Catholic Charities to pay unemployment taxes while giving other faith groups an exemption. Wisconsin had argued the charity's day-to-day operations did not involve religious teaching. And in yet a third unanimous decision, the U.S. Supreme Court threw out Mexico's lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers. Mexico had claimed gun makers are helping fuel drug cartel violence in that country. But U.S. laws mostly shield gun makers from lawsuits with limited exceptions. The High Court still tossed out the case. The suspect in the fiery attack last weekend in Boulder appears in a Colorado courtroom today to face dozens of charges. 15 people were hurt when they were hit with burning devices. Separately, a federal judge is temporarily halting the deportation of the suspect's family. From Colorado Public Radio, Kira Damari reports.
The suspect's wife and 5 kids were detained by ICE on Tuesday. Eric Lee is the immigration attorney representing the family, and he likened the move to a style of intimidation found in Nazi Germany called family or collective punishment.
The idea that the Trump administration can impose punishment on family members for the alleged crimes that they did not commit, is an assault on the most basic democratic rights of the entire American population.
Lee said a line has to be drawn on who can be charged with a crime. Hearings on the family's deportation are next week. For NPR News, I'm Kiara Damari in Denver.
Federal authorities have arrested a man in connection with the bombing of a California fertility clinic last month. Authorities allege suspect Daniel Park helped the bomber, Guy Bartkus. Reporter Steve Futterman has more.
According to federal law enforcement officials, Park helped supply Bartkus with 270 pounds of ammonium nitrate. That was a key ingredient used in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombings. And according to officials, Park was in possession of a bomb-making formula similar to the one used in that attack. The FBI says Park and Bartkus conducted experiments together earlier this year, and the two also allegedly shared so-called anti-life pro-mortalist beliefs.
Steve Futterman prepared that report. Israel says a special forces operation has recovered the bodies of two dual U.S.-Israeli citizens who had been held hostage in Gaza. NPR's Daniel Estrin reports from Tel Aviv.
The Israeli military says it retrieved the bodies of Judy Weinstein Chagai, an Israeli who held U.S. and Canadian citizenship, and her husband Gad Chagai, a dual U.S.-Israeli citizen. The military says they were killed in southern Israel during the October 7, 2023 attack by the Mujahideen Brigades, a small militant group, and that their bodies were taken to Gaza by the group. This leaves the bodies of two U.S.-Israeli citizens held in Gaza. In total, around 36 deceased hostages and about 20 living hostages remain held in Gaza. Israel and the U.S. want a temporary ceasefire with Hamas and the release of half of the living and dead hostages. Hamas agrees but demands talks for a permanent end of the war. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
A nationwide surveillance program is testing wastewater for evidence of measles in 40 U.S. states. NPR's Maria Godoy reports scientists hope the testing will boost public health officials' ability to spot measles cases before outbreaks occur.
The testing is being conducted by Wastewater Scan, a program that provides a real-time look at circulating pathogens based on testing wastewater samples from around the United States. The program already tracks viruses including COVID, flu, and RSV. Program co-director Marlene Wolf of Emory University says, with the U.S. seeing a sharp increase in measles cases this year, it makes sense to add the virus to its monitoring program.
If we detect it with an increasing frequency, so more and more of the samples in a row are positive, that would be something that we would look at as a potential sign of an outbreak.
Wastewater Scan's measles data is publicly available as of this week. Maria Godoy, NPR News.
New Zealand's parliament has suspended 3 indigenous lawmakers who are Māori. Last year, the lawmakers performed a traditional Māori dance to protest a bill. They said the legislation would undercut the rights of indigenous people in New Zealand. The New Zealand parliament has now suspended the lawmakers for up to 21 days. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News, from Washington.